It's the Wine Country Saturday Soundtrack Podcast. You know, on Saturdays, we play fun music and we feature great information at 993thevine.com with me, Big Rick Stewart, and music from my time at Live 105 and at KFOG. We also mix in some stories that I find kind of interesting, whether it's local music or food or tech or just kind of some cool things I think you ought to know about. It's always lots of fun. Fun music and great information happens every Saturday at 993thevine.com. And the Wine Country Saturday Soundtrack Podcast features great information like this. It's the Wine Country Saturday Soundtrack. I'm Big Rick Stewart. Thanks for hanging out. Fun music and great information. That is what we do every Saturday. All right, got a pretty good little drink here now. Here's the deal with this. Sometimes you put two things together that I really like, and you don't end up with something that I really like. But in this case, I did this and it tastes absolutely insanely delicious. It's from America's Test Kitchen. So, you know, they always have good stuff. It's a Negroni, but it's with a coffee liqueur. Now, I love coffee liqueurs and I love Negroni. So, all right, they put them together. Here's what you need. This makes two drinks, or one big one. 2 ounces of a coffee liqueur, 1.5 ounces of London dry gin, 1.5 ounces of sweet vermouth, and 1 ounce of Campari. That part is kind of the Negroni part. And then 2 strips of orange peel. Add the coffee liqueur, gin, vermouth, Campari to a cocktail mixing glass or a 2-cup liquid measuring cup. And then fill 3/4 full with ice. Get it nice and cold. Stir until the mixture is just combined and well chilled, about 30 seconds. Strain it out into some glasses and enjoy. You can run the orange peel over each drink and rub that along the edge of the glass. Pretty good, right? You can also serve that over ice on the rocks or just strain it through. It'll be cold enough. Coffee liqueur is so delicious. My favorites, Tia Maria. That's with some Jamaican coffee beans, Jamaican rum, vanilla, and sugar. I love Kahlua from Mexico, some rum, sugar, and coffee. If you want, you can get kind of wild and have some Jägermeister cold brew coffee as well. There's lots of choices, and you can find the recipe at America's Test Kitchen, but they kind of have a paywall, so you kind of have to be a member. Anyway, I just told you all about it. A Negroni with a little coffee liqueur. Give it a try. Let me know what you think. I'm Big Rick Stewart. It's a Wine Country Saturday Soundtrack at 99.3 The Vine. I'm Big Rick Stewart. It's the Wine Country Saturday Soundtrack. I know you throw your wine bottles in recycling and then you forget about it. You're like, that's all good. But if you want to, here's a little something. Californians will be able to recycle more beverage containers in 2024. They're talking about recycle wine, liquor, and large juice bottles. And of course, now the deal is, if you do this, you can earn cash for doing so beginning next year. Or you could throw them in your recycling bin. Okay, I get that. But I just thought that you might want to know that they will now be considered as part of the California Redemption Value Fee Program. What? You don't know about that? Well, you don't, take your recycling in to get a little cash, but you can. As with containers already included in the program, the fee will be refundable when you maybe buy something like that with containers when you recycle them, starting January 1st. So this is wine, liquor, alcoholic coolers, and juice in containers 24 ounces or less will be redeemable for 5 cents. 24 ounces or more, redeemable for 10 cents, and wine and liquor sold in paperboard or pouches, such as box wine, earn a 25-cent refund as well. Not included food, non-beverage containers, milk, and infant formula. So save those up. I mean, get a little cash. You got to figure out where to take them and all that stuff, and maybe it's a little bit of a hassle, and maybe it is easier just to throw them in recycling. I just thought maybe you'd like to know you can get a little cash for those empty wine bottles. Some of us have more empty wine bottles than others. It's the Wine Country Saturday Soundtrack at 99.3 The Vine. I'm Big Rick Stewart. It's the Wine Country Saturday Soundtrack. Thanks for hanging out and listening to me as we play some fun music and share some great information. This is from the New York Post and other sources. A gondola flips in Venice while tourists were trying to take selfies. Oh, man. Come on now. A group of tourists, they say, capsized a gondola in Venice after they were warned against taking selfies and standing in the boat. It was passing under a bridge near St. Mark's Square when it flipped over. There's video on TikTok and all this kind of stuff. The water isn't really so warm there. You might have realized this. So the gondolier had been taking a group out, some tourists and stuff, and they're on the boat, and they're taking selfies, and they're coming to one of those bridges. The bridges aren't really high, so everybody has to kind of get down a little bit and sit down. You can't stand up. And he's telling them, sit down, don't take selfies. Well, you know, you want a selfie going under the bridge or whatever, I guess you do. Did not work out. They hit the bridge and they flipped over. They all go in the water. The gondolier had been attempting this little turkey maneuver to get under this thing and ended up jumping in the water to help them out. They had a rescue gondola. I guess this happens sometimes, and they came and rescued everybody out of the water. They say everybody was okay. They were provided, quote, hospitality and warmth inside the La Venice theater. No injuries reported. People and their crazy selfie ideas. Be careful out there. I'm Big Rick Stewart. It's the Wine Country Saturday soundtrack at 99.3 The Vine. I'm Big Rick Stewart. It's the Wine Country Saturday soundtrack. We have some fun music and great information. Did you see recently somebody got rescued? It was kind of like a crazy rescue up in Napa Valley at one of the parks up here. It was pretty wild. And I saw that, and then I saw this story, and I thought, all right, well, maybe we can help people out. You never know. This is from explore.com. The unexpected noisemaker every camper and hiker needs to have with them. They say when it comes to being outdoors, safety is paramount. Whether you're hitting up a nearby trail for a morning outside, or you're on a long distance hike, or even, maybe a dog walk or a big time weekend adventure, whatever, you got to be prepared. So they say have a well-stocked first aid kit. All right, emergency contact information. That is good. And you know what you can do? You can keep that in your glove box. And then when you leave at the trailhead, just slip that in and then have it showing. And that way people can find you if something goes wrong. But now what they're talking about here is an air horn. An air horn. Yeah, an air horn. One of those things. They say they're really easy to use. They're super small. That is true. And they can get up to 129 decibels. That's as loud as a jackhammer or maybe at a big loud rock concert, and they're perfect for signaling for help. Oh yeah, an air horn, I like that. Plus it would scare off critters. Yeah, or people. Dogs or people or, I don't know, bears or whatever it could. So not a bad idea to carry around an air horn. And they say even if you fall, you can use your air horn. They say blast it 3 times, and that can be a signal for people to find you and to, get help, as opposed to just yelling, help, help, because you'll get exhausted doing that. And if you hear 3 blasts, you'll know that that's what someone is trying to get some help because of some reason. All right, so it's a pretty good idea, and they're not that expensive. Air horns for your outside adventure. I like it. Be safe. I'm Big Rick Stewart. It's the Wine Country Saturday soundtrack, 99.3 The Vine. Hey, I'm Big Rick Stewart. It's the Wine Country Saturday soundtrack. We have fun music and great information. That other famous amusement park in Southern California, I think is it in Buena Park? Isn't that where it is? Knott's Berry Farm is undergoing a little redo thing they got going on. They're adding 4 rides in Camp Snoopy as they go through a makeover. They won't be open for this makeover until Memorial Day next year, but KTLA and the OC Register say new additions, rides, and dining and improved experiences are coming to Camp Snoopy at Knott's Berry Farm. It's the first overhaul in more than a decade. The last time it was redone was back in 2014 for Camp Snoopy's 30th anniversary. So what's coming to Camp Snoopy? I know you're wondering. The new Snoopy Tender Paw Twister Coaster is going to be there. A new Camp Snoopy Off-Road Rally. Wow, where guests get to go to the finish line in their own 4-wheel Jeep themed Snoopy ride or Peanuts character themed Snoopy ride. And along the course, you get to see some funny road signs and obstacles to go over and around, but it's for kids, so it's all good. Success on the ride won't be determined by who gets to the finish first, but what you see and do during your journey. They're going to have Sally's Swing Along, which is going to be this big giant swing, big enough for kids and parents to swing at the same time. And the Beagle Express Railroad will take guests on a scenic ride through Camp Snoopy. I really like Knott's Berry Farm. It's really fun. I mean, as I recall, I haven't been there in a long super long time. I don't think they had Camp Snoopy when I was there. This all opens Memorial Day next year. Get ready. Buy your tickets in advance. And if you go to Disneyland, you might as well go to Knott's Berry Farm, right? I'm Big Rick Stewart. It's the Wine Country Saturday soundtrack at 99.3 The Vine. Hey, I'm Big Rick Stewart. It's the Wine Country Saturday soundtrack. Thanks for hanging out with me. Fun music and great information. That's kind of what we do. Headline from Forbes, the Gen Z mindset. What is that, anyway? Is changing coffee. All right, well, they say in a world where the daily grind often begins and ends with a cup of coffee, the next generation of coffee trends will likely be driven by new products and new users. And the person that wrote this says that, these new trends is what they call the Gen Z mindset. So what are these new trends? Well, okay, first of all, people are drinking coffee at like a ridiculously young age. I can't remember when I had my first cup of coffee, but it was probably in college, right? Check this out. They say while adults 35 years and older reported first drinking coffee somewhere between their 18th and 20th birthdays, that sounds about right. Younger consumers are starting much earlier. They say consumers are currently drinking coffee at an average age of 15 years old. That's for the 18 to 24 age group. That's the average. So some are younger than that. Wow. 10-year-olds drinking coffee? I don't know about that. All right, so what is the change? Well, the change is that, you probably know this. Way back when, we just drank hot coffee. Maybe a little cream and sugar or something. I don't know. That was it. And then, iced coffee became a thing. And then flavored iced coffee drinks and all that. Okay, so what they're saying is beyond regular brewed and hot specialty coffee, new categories in iced coffee, frozen blended coffees, and ready-to-drink platforms in cans, they call this the fourth wave of coffee consumption, have made this whole coffee drinking experience more accessible and easier to drink than ever before. Remember your first cup of coffee? You had a sip oh man, that's nasty. Now with cream and sugar and, flavors, it's hardly even tastes like coffee. Hey, whatever, Gen Z, bring it on. Let's have some iced coffee. I'm Big Rick Stewart. It's the Wine Country Saturday soundtrack at 99.3 The Vine. Well, those are some stories that I have featured on the Wine Country Saturday soundtrack. Tune in at 8 a.m. every Saturday at 993thevine.com. I'm Big Rick Stewart here. Music from my days at Live 105 and Cape Fog, some current songs, lots of surprises and more. It's always lots of fun. We have a 10 at 10, a Beatles brunch at noon. It happens all day. The Wine Country Saturday soundtrack and the Wine Country Saturday soundtrack podcast. Tell your friends, and thanks for listening to this podcast, and thanks for checking out 993thevine.com.